All right, guys, this is your last video for the week. We're going to go over the lesson I'm going to talk about right now again starting next week. I just wanted to introduce you to it, get you thinking. If it becomes very difficult for you to do the guided practice, you can either email me or try your best and we can talk about it in your next Red Track meeting, okay? But I am going to start back with this lesson next week. So like I said, if it's a little confusing, don't panic, okay? So why don't you go ahead and start one more page in your math notebook, I know, and go ahead and label it 1-4, or 1.4, I'm sorry. Okay, so now we're going to kind of take what we've learned and we're going to apply it to more of a word problem type. So I would really love if you were looking at page 27 in your math book with me, okay, and just follow along. So I'm on example 3. The Tigers, a football team, they must gain 10 yards in the next 4 plays to keep possession of the ball. Now, I will be honest, I do not know very much about football. But I know that if you tell me we gained 10 of anything, it's positive 10. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to write that down because I think that's important. Okay? The Tigers lose 12 yards. Okay, again, I know that if I lose something, I am subtracting it. So we've lost 12 yards. This is what they needed. Okay, this is what they needed. And this is what actually is happening. Okay, because we all know what you want to happen in sports is not always what happens. Then they gain 5 yards. And then they lose 8 yards. I'm thinking that's not good. And they gain another 14 yards. And we want to know, did they maintain possession of the ball? And we were told they had to have a positive 10 to maintain possession of the ball. So there are so many different ways that you could do this problem. You could start by doing a negative 12 and a positive 5, and then combining that with a negative 8, and then combining that with a positive 14. Or another way to do it, okay, so here's a trick, is combine your like signs, your negatives first, keep them negative, combine your positive next, and then combine those two. I'm going to do it the second way because it's not necessarily the best way, but I think you kind of get to the answer a little bit quicker. So I'm going to combine my negative 12 and my negative 8. Now, if you have to, go back and look at your rules. You always want to look at your rules. And your rules say, same sign. Add the numbers, keep the sign. So 12 and 8 is 20. And I'm keeping the sign because this is all of what they were losing. Okay? Then I'm going to combine my positive numbers. So 5 and 14 is 19. And it's positive. Now I have a much more simple problem, and I don't need all of this anymore. So if they lost 20 yards and they only gained 19, that means all together, because they're different signs, so do the subtraction. 20 minus 19 is 1, and the absolute value of 20, the 20 is bigger than 19, so I have to keep that negative. So at the end of the day, losing 12, gaining 5, losing 8, gaining 14, back, forth. They still lost 1. Okay? So did they reach their goal here? Did they maintain possession of the ball? They did not. Okay? And so one way that we could write that is negative 1 is less than 10, because that's what we were looking for, which means no, they didn't. Okay? I want you, when you go through these problems, at the very least, find the words that mean positive or negative. Okay? If you are diving, you're descending, you're losing, those are all negatives. And so when the numbers attached to those words, make that a negative number. When you're ascending, that means going up. You're going up. You are increasing. You are gaining. Those are all positive numbers. Make those numbers positive. And I want you to do that. In every word problem, I want you to find what you're losing, what you're gaining, when you're going up, when you're going down, and take those numbers and put the signs with them. Once you do that, you probably will be able to finish the problem. But if you can't, that's all right. We can talk about it. But I think this is a challenge, and I think you're going to do well on it. When you get to multiple numbers, I would love if you tried this strategy, but if you need to break it down, and instead of combining the negatives and combining the positives, if you kind of want to do this a little bit at a time, that's fine. So we could have said negative 12 plus 5 and made that one problem, subtracted our 8, made that another problem, and added our 14, but you'll notice you did 3 math problems. And, well, I guess I technically did 3 also. But you went back and forth with positive, negative, and I think it's easier for us to get confused. If instead you first gather up all the positives and all the negatives, and then combine them one time with different signs, I really feel like it leaves us less of a chance to make mistakes. Okay? So I want you to try page 28. I want you to do your best. This is what you know what I'll even do? I'll even give you the answers when we're done. But when I see your page in your Red Track meeting, I really want to see the work. So for example, on this one, I don't want to just see an answer. I want to see these numbers that you pulled out of the word problem. Okay? So pause the video, do the guided practice, come back to me when it's done. I'm going to assume it's done and give you those answers. All right, number 1. Either negative 18, or if we put it into words, we could have said 18 feet below sea level. The word below is what I replaced the negative with. Number 2, negative 25 degrees. Or I could have said 25 degrees below. Well, usually you can just say 25 degrees below and they know what you mean. Number 3, 67 points. So we could have said we gained or we earned 67 points. Now with that one, we wouldn't put a positive 67, but if we need to say it in words, we're going to need to tell the person if we're gaining this thing or we're losing it. So I think it's important you add to your paper, so do it now if you didn't do it, gained 67 points or earned 67 points. Number 4 is 24. Number 5 is negative 12. Number 6 is 18. Number 7 is 21. Number 8 is 97. Number 9 is 27, okay? And I'm going to let you do 10, 11, and 12 on your own and really think about them, and this is something we could discuss at our next meeting. If you feel stuck, you could always email me, and in your math notebook, at the top of the page, I want you to write how many of those 9 I read to you got correct. So when we are sorting through this, we can see if you're getting it or if you're a little confused. I'm not going to give you a grade based on your score. I'll give you credit for trying, okay? But I want to kind of quickly be able to see if it's something we need to review in your next meeting. And then it'll tell me too how much more in detail we need to go in this section next week. Okay, hopefully you're having a great week and I will see you soon.